Hi, we're back at Sea Houses in Northumberland again. I was here a few months ago and I made a YouTube film on various waders in the harbour and the eider duck. But I've come back again in the middle of March now, and this is when the eider ducks start to display, and I've been here several hours and it's been very good. I've chosen an incoming tide because then the boat ramp, which is at that far end, is normally clean and dry concrete. Unfortunately it's not today. There's a lot of work been going on the beach, and there's lots of large plant machinery here, and there's mud everywhere. It's rather untidy, and in fact some of the rocks out in that direction where I like to go and photograph the eider duck, I can't reach because I need Wellingtons on to get across all the mud that these machines have left behind. Nevertheless, it's been good. I've been enjoying it. I've just been sitting against this seawall as the tide has come up, but now there's not much space left. I can't think of many duck species that I really enjoy the sound of, but eider duck is one of them. Teal is another. It's a very simple call, the teal, but on a misty morning on a marsh it does sound wonderful. But the eider duck are pretty consistent. They make a noise a lot of the time when they're displaying. I once had a month on Iceland in the days when you could go by car ferry from Aberdeen. I seem to remember it took 3 days on the ferry. But the advantage was you could take your own car, and car hire in Iceland is very expensive. Could carry all my own food, which is also expensive there, and I stayed in the youth hostels for about £10 a night, so it made Iceland affordable. And I met a farmer there quite early on who told me he was going to go down to the shoreline tomorrow and collect all the feathers from the eider duck nests. I asked him if I could accompany him and take photographs of the event, and he was agreeable to that. Just made it a bit awkward because it meant I had to stay there overnight and I wanted to move on. But it's the sort of thing that was a good picture to take. It was a commercial picture. You'd quite likely sell it. And this is where eider down used to come from. But they can only produce enough eider feathers off Iceland every year to make 2,500 duvets. So most duvets are full of goose feathers rather than eider duck. And the eider downs are actually very expensive. So here we have a female with her head stretched out. She's inviting the male to mate with her, and this seems to be very common across all waterfowl. The female stretches the neck out like this. Something else that nearly all waterfowl species seem to have in common is, after they've mated, they bathe, both the male and the female. Although the eider duck can be found all around the UK coast in the winter months especially, it is really a northern species from Northumberland up on the east coast. This is the corner where they were storing the plant machinery that they were dredging the harbour with. And just behind me, in the wall, there was a small trickle of water coming out which crossed the beach. It was a tiny bit of water, but the only fresh water, and very noticeable that every 30 minutes or so the eider duck would come across and drink from it, always as a group, not as an individual bird. They're a very gregarious species. They like the company of other eider ducks, even though they squabble a bit. But it was a handy place for me to sit on my stool because I was guaranteed they would return there quite frequently. Just a couple of stills pictures I took on the day. I mostly did video. As I said before, I find it very difficult to do both. I have to make up my mind, is it going to be a stills photography day or a video day? And now we'll just look at some other waterfowl. These were actually taken up in Northumberland as well. Swans early in the morning. And at this time of year, the swans will become very territorial, and the male and female will often fly around as a pair. But here we've got a whole group of mute swans. But when you've got a territorial pair, they will often fly around the lake they're intending to breed on. They also become very aggressive to other swans and start chasing each other. It's a very good time of year to be photographing mute swans as well. Slow motion video at 120 frames per second. And if you ever see mute swans synchronising their head movements like this, you know they're going to mate. And sometimes this performance will go on for a good minute, so you get plenty of warning it's going to happen. What a fantastic display that is. And now we have a pair of redheads doing their display, round and round in circles. And the other species I mentioned earlier is the teal, doing its head bobbing display. Waterfowl are very interesting when it comes to display. They've all got slightly different behaviour. Here's pintail, the northern pintail. Fantastic little display. Sticks its tail up in the air like that. Wonderful to watch. So thanks for watching.